Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Gobi Games podcast. I'm your host, Gobi. So, today we are talking zombie games. Yes, it is October, so why not? First up, we're going to talk about an upcoming game, Dying Light 2 Staying Human. I probably will not be picking this game up on release. Now, it's not to say it's not going to be a great game. It's probably going to be an amazing game. I love Dying Light. Got hundreds of hours into the game. Wrote my own mod for it. I'll talk about it later. The game, not my mod. But they made some design choices to me that I didn't agree with and whatever. But one of the things they have done is they're adding, this girl from everywhere, Rosia, I'm gonna screw it up, Miss Dawson, Rosa Dawson, is now in Dying Light. You've seen her in tons of other stuff. She was in a bunch of Netflix series, in the Marvel universe, and some other things too. But now she has her very own video game character in Dying Light 2. Now, she can be a friend or a foe, it sounds like, which is kind of cool. She also looks like a complete badass, so I probably wouldn't want to piss her off. That's just me. But, the rest of the game looks... Map design... They nailed it. Like, it looks beautiful. I really do like the way the game looks and the map layout, and what they're trying to do with the parkour combat. That's all cool. Don't get me wrong, it looks amazing. And of course, their melee weapons are on point. They've been great in every one of the games, all the way back to the original Dead Island game. Which, again, a testament. Now, the parkour obviously changed and came into the series in Dying Light. But from what I've seen, it looks like they're keeping that spirit of Dying Light alive and just improving on an already amazing formula, which is great. I'm really glad they did that. And the rest of the, your choices matter. That's, it's impactful. It'll be fun. I think it'll really give Dying Light 2 a unique feel to it and set it apart in its own little whatever corner. It has the potential to be a very amazing game, and I wish them all the luck, and hopefully that is the game we get. Now, obviously this game has been pushed back more than a few times, and I don't necessarily feel like that's a bad thing. They're still supporting the original Dying Light, which came out years ago. So with them delaying it all the way into basically next year, I think it's 2022 now. I'm not upset. Like, take your time, get it out, release a nice polished game, and everybody will love it. That's just what it is. Now, speaking of its predecessor, Dying Light, obviously this is a great game in its own right. It's out right now. They did do some rebranding crap that I'm not a giant fan of, not gonna lie. But there's now a Platinum Edition, which includes all of the paid DLC for the most part, included with all of the story DLCs like the following, which is great for people who buy in the game now. Gives you some outfits and whatnot. But the game itself is just... The one bad thing about the game is this: the main protagonist is not. He's very flat. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's yeah. I don't think the game was story heavy. I didn't necessarily hate it. It was a decent story. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't like it didn't really suck me in either. The only interesting part was his relationship with Jade, and especially after her brother was killed. But it was that part was neat. But for the most part, it was just a fun zombie game. With some interesting night features that I highly recommend. It's lots of fun. There's actually a Left 4 Dead crossover event. Now this has been brought back a couple of times. I'm only talking about it because I'm hoping they bring it back this year as well. Usually they have it around Halloween time. Now, basically it gives you unlimited ammo and lets you just run around and can just use firearms in the whatever way you want, because you basically every time you go back into a safe house, your ammo is restocked. Now there are obviously mods that do the similar things for you during whatever. I will note again, if you are gonna mod Dying Light, make sure you go in and turn off VAC Secure Game first. Then back out of the game, apply your mod, make sure you back it up so you can go back to the original, so that way you do not receive any VAC bans. You obviously won't go into the same lobbies either. So if you're using a mod, in order for another person to join you, they have to have the exact same mods as you do. So it's one of those things. I won't go into detail about Dying Light modding because nobody really cares about it. But it's definitely a game, if you see it on sale and you haven't picked it up, it's a great game. Just pick it up and play it. You will not regret it. It'll be a lot of fun. So now I mentioned, obviously, Left 4 Dead, because that's classic zombie game. I'm not going to talk about it. It's been talked to death. But I will talk about some games that are like it. One of them which being World War Z. Now, it's now called World War Z Aftermath after the last DLC. This DLC is significant, though. It does add some things to the game that are not in the original game, like melee weapons and a first-person mode. Now, don't get too excited for the first-person mode. It's great because it's first-person mode, and I'm excited for it. The aiming, though, there is no aiming. There's no, it's weird. It's hard to explain, but it's not implemented as best as it could. But that is the one downside. It's still great and easy and playable and whatever. It's just you're expecting to be able to aim down the sights and you don't aim down the sights. That makes sense. But again, you get a couple more story missions and whatnot and whatever. But the big thing is it brings the game to Steam. So now you no longer need to have the Epic Games Store installed or use it to play World War Z. You can still play with people on Epic, no problem. It's also cross-play with console players as well. It's basically like a third-person version of Left 4 Dead, set in the World War Z movie universe. It works. It's not a great game per se, but it's a great game. It's one of those. If you're really looking for that Left 4 Dead itch and it's just not there yet, this could definitely fill that void. However, if you're really looking for that Left 4 Dead itch and you really want to scratch it, Back 4 Blood is your game. At the time of this podcast coming out, it's the 4th. I believe the game is set to release on the 12th, so you only have like 8 days to wait for this game. Back 4 Blood. Yes, I plan on getting this game. I actually played the beta. I immensely enjoyed the beta. I will say this: it is much easier with 4 players than you and some AI friends. Yeah, it's also going to be on Xbox Game Pass day 1, which is cool for them. And I mean, that's just, Game Pass is a good deal in gaming. It just is. It's also obviously coming to Steam, which is where I'm picking it up. I think it's also coming on Epic too, but it's it's literally Left 4 Dead, but with a different story. There's so many similarities, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've been waiting for a Left 4 Dead game. Not gonna lie, I would have loved for it to be Left 4 Dead 3. Back 4 Blood, like this is definitely gonna fill that void. It was smooth. I enjoyed the gunplay. It was just a solid game. Did it have its quirks? Yes. One of the things I did not like is there seemed to be absolutely no way to back out of the game at a safe house without consuming a continue. Which, okay, that's seems odd, but you're only allowed 3. Like 3 continues, and then once you use up your 3 continues, you're got to restart a character and you got to start all the way over from the beginning. There were a couple times where like I got all the way through the very first act, which was 4 chapters or whatever, and needed to back out because I'm a father. I got to do things, and it used to continue. So then I actually, by the time you got to the end, the 8th stage or whatever in the beta, we got one shot at it, and that was it. We ran out of continues by then. I had for my particular character. So it made it, unless you sat down and played from start to finish and you had the amount of time it took your team to do that, then it was a great system. It gave you 3 tries at everything. But if you have to get out and go do something because you got kids and you thought you had enough time but you don't, you're going to be penalized for it. Just fair warning. It's just the way the game's wrote. Hopefully they change that so you could at least back out to the main menu at a safe house without using a continue. But if not, it is what it is, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Like I said, that game comes out on the 12th, which, it's 8 days. It does have a deluxe bundle and ultimate bundles. I'm not sure I would endorse getting either one of the bigger bundles until after release. But it's, that's just a me thing. It's also, I'm going to be waiting. I won't be getting this day 1. It's a game I plan on playing and, enjoying many, many hours of. But I'm not necessarily going to grab it day 1 because I want to make sure it's running right before I do. Yeah. So the next game, this one's out. It's been out for a while. We can't talk about zombie games without talking about Resident Evil. It just wouldn't be proper. Village came out a while back, May 6th. It's glaringly positive everywhere as far as reviews. I haven't played the game yet. I'm usually a slow adopter. I just picked up Resident Evil 3 and 2, I believe, and just started playing through them. These are games for me. I enjoy them, but they take me forever to complete because I don't get sucked into them a lot. There's sometimes that I burst through a game in no time at all because it sucks in me. Resident Evil games are more of a slow burn for me. This one looks interesting. I mean, come on, who doesn't love the vampire lady? Obviously, I haven't played it, so I don't know much about the story. I've also stayed away from a lot of story spoilers and whatnot. But it's everything that I'm reading about the game. It says it's a solid game. It's got an 83 on Metacritic. It's a Resident Evil game. Like, they're hard to say anything bad about them. I mean, the only thing I can say bad about them is I wish they gave me more ammo. It's just a personal thing. And it might just be that I suck at the games. I'm okay with that too. It just I wish they gave you more ammo. They don't, so I struggle a little bit, and that's why they take me so long to go get through. But this is definitely a game, obviously, I would check out. I just haven't got around to doing so. It's on my very long backlog of games that I want to play. I guess kind of the dark horse in these zombie games are the zombie army games. They're not very widely known, which is sad because they're actually pretty good games. Third person, they have the whole bullet time thing when you get some cool kills. I haven't bought the fourth one. I own the Trilogy, which the Zombie Army Trilogy, which is 1, 2, and 3. Solid game. They're a lot like the Call of Duty zombie games, but instead of waves, you're doing a mission all the way through, and the zombies never get harder. It's a zombie horde game. It's one of those. It's got its quirks, obviously, but it's a solid game. Obviously the Trilogy I'm talking about. Zombie Army 4 has got positive reviews. It released earlier this year. Again, I haven't really been playing zombie games this year, so I haven't picked these up yet. But it's, again, you're killing Hitler's Nazis, zombies. It's really hard not to, we won't go into that. But, it's, check them out. Obviously, wait until they're on sale at this point, just because it's easier on your pocketbook. Why? It's only $50 now, but this is definitely a game I would wait until it came on sale and go from there. That's that's the zombie games I kind of want to talk about. I guess obviously my favorite on the list right now is Dying Light. I got more hours in that game than any other. Gunplay could be a little tighter, but it's good enough that what you get to do with it, it's a lot of fun. The parkour is really where that game shines, and it's so much fun. It really is. Even though they give me a grappling hook, it's still a lot more fun to climb around the city than it is to grapple across the rooftops. I mean, now if I want to get somewhere in a hurry because I got so many hours in the game, there's no real fast travel system other than you can go from one map to the other. So the grapple hook to me is kind of like the fast travel system, flying across rooftops. But it is way more fun to jump around the city and slaughter zombies just for no good reason at all. And they do a really good job with the animations and the slowdown in time and getting to do some epic zombie hits. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I'll close out with that. Hopefully you guys are having a good early week, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.